Hello and welcome to Follow the Money. I'm Raine Musñgi. Join us as we explore the tools and insights you need to jumpstart your financial journey. At the COP29 summit in Baku, Azerbaijan, where the Philippines is urging for increased financial support for countries most vulnerable to climate change. The Department of Finance is calling for developed countries to pledge $1.3 trillion annually to fund critical needs in areas like climate adaptation, mitigation, and loss and damage. The DOF also demands the removal of barriers to climate finance, including high capital costs, currency risks, and heavy debt burdens that are limiting access to essential resources. The Department of Finance is calling for climate justice, stating that countries least responsible for the crisis are paying the heaviest price. As the summit enters its final week, countries are at a deadlock over a new financing goal. The UN climate chief is urging delegates to take swift and decisive action on this critical issue.
We'll only get the job done if parties are prepared to step forward in parallel, bringing us closer to common ground. Bluffing, brinksmanship, and premeditated playbooks burn up precious time and run down the goodwill needed for an ambitious package. So let's cut the theatrics and get down to real business.
The leaders of the world's 20 major economies are also being urged to play their part in combating climate crisis. This call comes from the president of the ongoing COP29 summit in Baku, where while the summit is tasked with establishing a new goal for climate finance, it's the G20 nations that control the funding.
Their leadership is essential to making progress on all pillars of the Paris Agreement, from finance to mitigation and adaptation. We cannot succeed without them, and the world is waiting to hear from them. We urge them to use the G20 meeting to send a positive signal of their commitment to addressing the climate crisis. We want them to provide clear mandates to deliver at COP29. This is their chance to show their leadership.
Saudi Arabia has pushed back against calls to restate its commitment to phasing out fossil fuels at the COP29 climate summit. While global pressure mounts for countries to accelerate the shift toward renewable energy, Saudi Arabia maintains that its approach to energy transition must be balanced with economic growth. The kingdom, which relies heavily on oil exports, has faced criticism for its lack of ambitious fossil fuel commitments at previous climate talks. However, Saudi officials argue that their strategy, which includes investments in renewables and carbon capture technology, is in line with a sustainable future while ensuring energy security. The conversation at COP29 will likely continue to focus on the challenge of maintaining economic stability while implementing the Paris Agreement's goals to limit global warming. Saudi Arabia's stance is expected to stir debate among nations seeking a more aggressive phase-out of fossil fuels in favor of renewable sources. An update now, again from the G20 summit in Rio. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva is calling for international tax cooperation to combat inequality. Lula is once again pushing for a 2% wealth tax on the assets of the super rich. He argues that this could generate around $250 billion annually, funds that could be used to address both social and environmental challenges.
A globalização neoliberal fracassou.
For the crisis of multilateralism, more multilateralism is needed. There is no need to wait for a new world war or an economic collapse to promote the transformations that the international order needs.
Greece is poised to pay off a significant chunk of its bailout debt earlier than expected. This signals confidence in the economic recovery. That's despite widespread public anger over rising living costs. Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis announced plans to repay 4 billion euros of the 9 billion outstanding debt to the European Financial Stability Facility ahead of schedule. While the Greek government touts this move as a victory in its recovery journey after years of austerity, many Greeks are protesting rising prices, particularly in food and energy, which have placed a heavy burden on household budgets. The move comes as Greece has posted strong growth figures, with the economy expanding by 2.7% in the last quarter and unemployment falling to a record low. Australian mining company Resolute Mining has agreed to pay $160 million to the military-led government of Mali after the detention of its CEO and 2 employees earlier this month. The company, which operates gold mines in the West African nation, confirmed the settlement after the workers were released under unclear circumstances. The detention of Resolute's employees was seen as part of Mali junta's broader efforts to assert control over foreign businesses operating in the country. In exchange for the payment, Resolute Mining will be allowed to continue its operations, which have been central to Mali's economy. The deal has drawn mixed reactions. Supporters argue that this payment is a necessary step to ensure the stability of Resolute's operations in Mali, but critics claim that the payment could set a dangerous precedent for companies operating in politically unstable regions. Nippon Steel is set to restrict imports from its overseas mills, aiming to strengthen the possibility of securing the $7.3 billion acquisition of U.S. Steel by Cleveland-based Cleveland-Cliffs. The move comes as Nippon, the world's second-largest steel maker, seeks to clear a major obstacle in the merger process. This decision is part of a broader strategy to protect the American market and maintain U.S. Steel's commitment to domestic production. The Japanese company, which has been facing pressure from regulators, had been considering closing its U.S. operations due to concerns over competition with local mills. This move is expected to satisfy antitrust concerns, which had raised issues over the potential market dominance in the U.S. steel sector. The deal is still pending final approval, but is expected to play a major role in shaping the future of the U.S. steel industry. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has filed charges against Bitmining Limited for allegedly violating the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. The SEC claims the company based in China engaged in improper payments to government officials to obtain exclusive rights to mine in certain countries. The charges stem from investigations into Bitmining's activities in Africa and Asia, where it has reportedly made payments to secure contracts and obtain favorable treatment for its mining operations. These allegations could have major implications for the company's global expansion plans, particularly in the cryptocurrency mining industry, which is under increasing scrutiny. Bitmining has denied the allegations and is cooperating with the SEC to resolve the matter. The SEC's action highlights the growing focus of compliance with international anti-corruption regulations, particularly in the mining and technology sectors. Spirit Airlines, the budget carrier known for low-cost flights, has filed for bankruptcy. The move comes amid growing financial strains, including $1.9 billion in debt and mounting losses. Spirit says it will continue operations while restructuring. Experts attribute the company's troubles to high fuel costs and fierce competition in the low-cost sector. Passengers are advised to check for schedule changes. More news in business and the economy in a moment. Stay on BNC and follow the money. Welcome back to Follow the Money. China is making a bold move to power its renewable energy future with an ambitious ultra-high voltage electricity grid. The new infrastructure, which is designed to carry massive amounts of electricity across vast distances, will connect regions rich in renewable resources like wind and solar power with major urban centers. Set to revolutionize energy distribution, The UHV grid will help alleviate one of China's major challenges, its geographic mismatch between energy production and consumption. The project, which involves both overhead and underground transmission lines, will reduce energy loss during long-distance transmission and significantly lower the cost of electricity. China Mobile, the world's largest telecom operator by subscribers, is exploring a potential acquisition of Hong Kong Broadband Networks, or HKBN. Sources close to the matter tell Bloomberg talks are in early stages. This deal could enhance China Mobile's presence in the ASEAN telecom market, or Asian telecom market, and bolster its fixed-line internet services. However, regulators may scrutinize the merger, raising concerns about monopoly concerns, or rather questions about monopoly concerns, and both companies declined to comment. Sources indicate the valuation of the deal could exceed $1 billion. New Jersey's online gambling industry has broken yet another record, bringing in $213 million in revenue for the month of October. According to state data released earlier this week, this marks a significant increase over the same month last year, when internet gambling generated just over $200 million. While the state celebrates this boom in revenue, many are questioning whether this success is sustainable. Industry leaders attribute the rise to expanded sports betting and casino offerings, especially mobile platforms, which have attracted new players across the state. Singapore has wrapped up a massive money laundering case, seizing $1.4 billion in assets, including luxury cars, properties, and jewelry. Authorities say the suspects voluntarily forfeited the funds. Now, while police declare the case closed, critics argue the high-profile individuals involved have avoided accountability. The case is one of the largest of its kind in Singapore's history. In a major step towards improving safety, Roblox has announced a new update that will restrict messaging capabilities for children under the age of 13. This move, set to take effect by November 18, follows increasing concerns over the platform's ability to protect young users from harmful interactions. As part of this update, these younger users will be prohibited from engaging in text or voice chats in social spaces, which are now only accessible to older players. Roblox, which boasts around 70 million daily users, has been criticized for its past child safety practices. Denmark has announced a bold plan to combat climate change by planting 1 billion trees and converting 10% of its farmland into forests. The project, estimated to cost $5 billion, is part of the country's net zero 2045 target. Critics, however, warn that reducing farmland could increase food import dependence. Denmark aims to begin the project next year. The Associated Press has announced that it will be cutting 8% of its workforce in the coming months as the news agency seeks to adapt to the challenges of the digital age. The company confirmed that buyouts and some layoffs will take place in an effort to streamline operations and reduce costs. This decision comes as the AP faces declining revenues from traditional advertising models and the impact of rising operational costs. Although the news agency is shifting toward digital platforms for its content distribution, the transition has not been without hurdles. The layoffs are expected to affect several departments, with a particular focus on non-news production roles. Donald Trump's media and technology group is in talks to purchase BAT, a digital asset platform, in a move that could strengthen Trump Media and Technology Group's position in the growing cryptocurrency market. According to a report from the Financial Times, the deal would be valued at approximately $1.5 billion, though negotiations are still ongoing. If completed, the acquisition would mark another high-profile partnership for Trump's media company, which has already faced controversy over its social media platform Truth Social. BOT, which is publicly traded, offers a platform for buying, selling, and storing digital currencies. Finally, LeBron James' Spring Hill Entertainment is set to merge with Full 73, the production company behind the Kardashian family's successful television show. The deal, which was announced this week, will unite two major forces in the entertainment industry, combing James' media influence with Full's expertise in producing high-profile television. The merger is expected to create a global entertainment empire that will tap into a vast fan base, with both companies focusing on producing content for streaming platforms and television. The deal could have a significant impact on the celebrity-driven media landscape, particularly with both James and the Kardashians having major media presence and influence. This expansion comes as the entertainment industry continues to evolve, with the rise of streaming devices and demand for celebrity-centric programming and services. The merger is expected to open new avenues for both Spring Hill and Full 73 in the competitive media market. And that is it for today's edition of Follow the Money. I'm Raine Musñgi. Thank you so much for watching. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel, always on top.